So people keep asking me, they ask, LB, how'd you make that song Public Pools by Sun Casino sound so good? And I say to them, I say, good song, good band, good singer, no problem. But they say to me, they say, LB, we want more. We want the deets. We want to know. We want the juice, the tea. So I say to them, I say, okay, here you go. This one's for you. We'll start with the tracking session. 3-piece band, 0 pre-production. I've worked with them before, so I have a sense of how they play. And I've never heard this song before. And so I set up in a way where I'm like, this is going to be a good capture. And then I'm going to produce the out of it later. Cool. All right, so let's start with the drums. Unported kick drum. So that means we've got no hole. So I'm getting the attack on the batter side. Nice. And then on the other side of the kick, nice and tight. And I'm compressing that with a DBX 160, a little bit of SSL EQ. I probably tried to get a little more sub energy down here since the fundamental of this kick's a little higher up. All right, snare top. Aerodynamic 201. My man Spencer puts his wallet right on that thing, nice and dead. And the snare bottom. Hey, that's some energy. I think that's a 441. Stevie Nicks mic on the snare bottom. Pff, best looking mic ever to go on a snare bottom, I'll tell you. All right, so that's our snare. Very nice. Now, no floor tom was played, so we're not even going to hear the floor tom. Hi-hat. This is cool. He plays the bell the whole time. The bell of the hi-hat. Very unique sound. Yeah, I mic'd the hi-hat with an M160. And if I don't want to use it, I'll mute it. But you know I'm going to use it. All right, then we go to our overheads. Pair of Coles in Blumline. That ping of a ride from a pair of Coles never gets old. They're going into a 1073, and I definitely gave them a shelf boost, 10K. Typically what I do is start boosting, and then when I get that little ping of euphoria, I turn it down a little bit because you don't want to do too much with that stuff. I've learned the hard way. All right, now we got a mic right at the face of the drummer. I believe it's a D15 because, you know, I bet what the drummer's hearing sounds pretty good. They've been practicing to balance it right here to sound good, so I put a mic right there. Then I have a ribbon mic on the front of the kick that's split off into 2 preamps. It's split off into this Fern tube preamp, and it's also split into this 251 Ampex preamp. They don't sound that different. Next up, I mic'd the room. All right, we can hear that the kick drum sounds like it's in my right ear, which is mildly unsettling, so we're gonna have to figure that one out later. But that's the room. Now here is the entire drum kit. Very nice. Moving on to the bass. Steven, we got a DI. I think it's an Avalon. Going into a 1073 preamp. Pretty crunchy. My dude plays hard. Plays with a plectrum. He's got a J bass with flat wounds. Love it. And then the amp. Very nice. Ampeg amp. Getting compressed with an 1176. I believe the DI was also getting compressed with a 33609. And you hear a little bit of comb filtering as soon as you introduce that amp to the DI, and that's because space and time is unavoidable, and so there's just a little bit of space and time happening here. So we'll deal with that later. All right, guitars. We've got a 201 Mojave FET condenser. Pretty chill, pretty chill. Guess I wasn't liking this. Who would? And then we've got a Sennheiser 421 on the same speaker. And that sure is not a nice sound, but blends great. So now I can hear the two of them together, and I can get any kind of blend I want. And I'll figure out what blend I want later, and then I'll sum them down to Mono. We also got a DI, just in case. And then we dubbed another layer, just a double. We might have switched amps too. Seems like we switched amps. Cool. Lastly, and not leastly, I sent that guitar, the first guitar, while we were tracking to a BX20 Spring Reverb. Hanging a bit to the Larry there, because I want a little bit of ambience, you know, I want it to feel nice. And then I also sent it to a Bricasti. And probably, depending on the song, would send one or the other. They sound remarkably similar. I mean, I think it's the Sunset Chamber, just because I like to think about the sun. And maybe those will end up in the final mix. Maybe they won't. I don't know. Then we got some scratch vocals here in the room, which we're not going to listen to. And here is the final board mix from the end of the day. Nice. All right. So that's basics for Public Pools by Sun Casino. Let's move into the production and mix. All right. It's dark now. Let's go. So we're going to look at the overdubs, production process, and mix of this fair song. What has changed since the day of tracking basics? Well, we have done some editing, as you can see. We have added an MS-20 synthesizer. We have added a guitar riff. We have added a guitar solo. We have added vocals. So let's give the song a listen, and I'm going to give you a peek around, look at the mix bus and stuff while we're listening. Here goes. Public Pools, Sun Casino. All right. I love that song. I've listened to it hundreds of times. Still love the song. So yeah, let's get started with the vocals. Okay. So we had the scratch vocals over at the studio, and we overdubbed them here. The way I do vocals here, particularly with Brady, the singer of this fair outfit, is I use that same thing I was doing to split off that ribbon microphone in the front of the kit, and I split off a condenser microphone to an LA610 preamp and a Bogan RP2 preamp, which is essentially just wicked tube distortion with a tone knob. Cool thing about the little splitter box is that you can send phantom power on from one preamp, and it powers the mic without, doing things with 48V that maybe shouldn't happen. So that's nice. So I've got my lead vox here, and you can see we did a little bit of comping, Taste the Rainbow. And then I've got my RP2 here, which is that distortion. Let's get a taste of that on its own.
In this town, me and my friends are running around. We're sneaking into public pools, get chased out and lose our shoes.
And then here's the clean vocal.
In this town, me and my friends are running around. We're sneaking into public pools.
So yeah, it's cool because there's no phase interference because it's the same signal, and you just get a little bit of that nice breakup. I'm not hitting the Bogan too hard in this case. Sometimes I hit it wicked hard. Okay, nothing here. Get a little bit of harshness dynamically, and then giving it a little 1K. That's rare for me, but I guess that felt right. Hitting it with some 4-to-1.
Me and my friends are running around. We're sneaking into public pools.
Just keeping it all tidy and tucked. And then little DS. So got that going. That's probably the first overdub we did is these vocals, comped them. And at some point in the mix process, I would have said, cool. Let me just commit this and then work on it from there. And I can see that what I did was commit up to this insert because I was sure I wanted that to happen, and I wasn't sure how the rest was going to sit as I got mixing. So I'm going to now work from the committed, but that's how I tend to do things. So this is the committed lead, and then there's a double. Same process. No, actually, I committed it again post Melodyne. That's what it is. See, I got Melodyne. What did I do? Like 2 notes. Yeah, nice one. I really didn't tune hardly anything, but I guess I tuned 2 notes here. And I committed that down after I was also cool with all of these inserts. And then turns out nothing changed. So sometimes your first instinct is great. Okay, so we'll listen from here. So that's our lead. Then here are our chorus doubles, and same thing there, wherein I would print it through the RP2 and the 610. Let's hear what that sounds like in solo.
Don't take me out, sneak out my house.
Nice, and I wasn't getting enough crunch apparently. So now there's some more crunch coming in parallel that I'm sending these chorus vocals to. Love this thing. So it's mostly just the mid range, and then I got this intense de-esser there to make sure things chill out. Now you'll notice I have most of my pro cues on natural phase as opposed to 0 latency. I like that for like parallel stuff, multi-mic drum situations. Or any tight cue stuff. Natural phase is what's up. Helps with pre-ringing problems and weird phase stuff. Okay, and then we've got, volume trim, nothing happening there. Volume trim here, nothing happening. Yeah, okay, wow, cool. Very little in the way of volume automation. And we're going to send these. We got a little delay going in the bridge. These ones are static. The chorus is going to a DMX, which I'll show you in a second. The lead chorus is going to the verb and the crunch, and then the chorus double is going to the DMX to spread them both out wide. And then I guess I made a VCA for just the first chorus because for some reason it needed to be louder. Who knows? And then the whole vocal bus is going into this lovely Pulsar Mu. Let's see what that's doing here.
It's in this town, me and my friends are riding around.
Doing a good amount, getting rid of any lows that are accumulating. LB Vox harshness go-to over here because you got to watch out for those. And half a dB of a little air. Cool. All right, so that's our vocals. And here's all our sends. We ended up with this big surprise. Valhalla Vintage, practically default, just raise the low cut. And yeah, do a little, just the mids hitting that reverb. The spring on the Galaxy, very nice. That gets automated slap. Cool. And eighth note with a de-esser, so I guess it was too essy or something, so did that. Are we going to the flanger? Full flange. Good, very good. All right, so that's the vocals, and then we've got this DMX here, which is essentially like a micro shift. I just kind of like it a little bit better than the one most people use. Sounds a little less plasticky. I love this thing. Sounds awesome. Really gives you the width to the vocals. All right, that's the sick vocals. Then we've got the sick solo, which we did a DI and a just ran it through a bunch of pedals at the same time. I'm taking the DI and so there's our DI, fun. It's gone through this stuff too. Distort the shit out of it. Very nice, then widen it. So that's just a direct tone in, going through some pedals. And then we're sending to this delay, a little bit of ducking. Love the sound of this. Am I the only one that always puts the longer delay on the right because I conceive of time as moving left to right? Let me know. I always do that. And then the whole solo bus, getting rid of some lows, getting rid of some harshness dynamically. Look at this. Whoo-hoo. And getting rid of even more lows that accumulated while we squished it and smushed it and distorted it even further. Okay, so that's the 6 solo. And so that, and then we'll go to the MS-20 because I think we probably did all this in one day. Sounds sick on its own because it's an MS-20. Get rid of some subs. Push it out into the sides. Side chain the kick drum to it, of course. And distort it more. A lot more. And then send it to this Buenos Noches from Chad Blake. Because Chad Blake is amazing, and I copy these settings exactly. It just makes it swirl around in your head. Cool, so some nice dimensionality there. And then Brady, after we got all these overdubs in and had a rough bouncing around, Brady said, we just need something else to tie the room together, just like a little melody. So he came over with his cute dog, and in about 5 minutes, laid this down. Then an octave, down. Just a little extra mojo from this black box, which I love. So this thing really tied the room together, this melody. And I think the key was that we tried it a few different ways, and then we said one finger, one string. That was the way to really make it feel the best. So now we've got the bass. A reminder of what the bass sounded like before all this madness. Quite nice. But sometimes you just have to do crazy things to bass to get it to feel good in the mix. We're not listening to it in context, but here's what happened. Nice. Respectable. I always like the little bit of shine that this thing gives a sound. A little almost excitement. Sidechaining it to the kick. Quite gently. Nothing. Probably just trying to see something. Something. A lot of something. Woo! Nice. Boosting that 1 and 2K top really ties the room together. And then what are we doing here? Just smoothing out some low ends, so we've got some evenness in the lows. Now we'll probably be able to hear it well with the drums. Up. So yeah, you gotta sometimes add an obscene amount of harmonics to electric bass. Woo! Okay, now we've got our drum kit nested in this tasty little folder. And I am sending the whole drum kit to a room in the choruses, even though we already have a room that we recorded. We're gonna send it to a fake room. This mono face mic is getting all sorts of treatment here. Guess I didn't like some upper harmonics there. Definitely didn't like whatever was happening here. So let's hear what that sounds like. Nice. Mellow it out a lot. Now you may notice, you may be thinking, LB, what's with all this? So we quantize the drums in the intro, the end of the first verse, bits of the second verse, and the entire bridge, because the dudes wanted this to sound kind of drum machine-like. So in some instances, quantizing was the way to go. So we've got this mono face. It's not always in. It's just in sometimes. Not in the choruses. So all these mics are serving different roles in different parts. All right, here's our overhead. And that's a pair of Coles in Blumline. Yeah, so that hi-hat, I needed that to chill out. Here's without the CQ. Yeah, really takes the edge off. And I didn't want all that low end in there because we're going to get it from our kick, and I didn't want any weird phase stuff with the two different low ends. I don't think they're adding up in a pleasurable way to me, so I said goodbye and, of course, natural phase. So that's that little bit more harshness cutting. And then nothing to the parallel. Are we flanging? We didn't get away with flanging. Doing a little bit of dynamic work on the overhead leading into the last chorus, and whatever this bus is, we shall see. Oh, cool. That's our more distortion. That we're going to distort the overheads. Love that for us. All right, front of kit. Now we can see that has been committed. What did I do there? I just did a little EQ, and that's only happening in the choruses. So we have this transition from this face mic to this noticeably duller front of kit ribbon mic. Cool. And yes, the hi-hat. What are we doing here? Getting rid of some 15 dB of some 6.7K and notching nearby because we like that sound, but we needed it to chill a bit. And of course, panning it to the left because drummer's perspective is the only perspective. Very nice. Okay, now this is my kick sample. I use the kick out microphone. And that's got some nice beefy bottom and some clicky top. Kind of giving me what I was missing. Now back to my original kick. The kick in is getting what? Nothing. It's getting nothing. But I had this here in case it needed to get something. Then the little Oxford drum gate. Get rid of some bleed. Little bit of 3K. Trying to get some A little bit of click and just a visualizer. And then what do we got here? Oh, filtering out some lows and boosting some more 50. So, because if we're boosting some 50 shelf, we're going to be getting some subs we maybe don't want. So that's all that. Then those are feeding into here. Oh, let's get some more mid 56, whatever. Cut this out, make some room for the bass. You see, I've got the bass here in my visualizer. So I was seeing, oh, the bass is doing a lot here. Let's adjust that relationship, make it more copacetic. This is a trick I stole from Sean Everett, in which you use a multi-band compressor to actually expand your kick drum. So you pull down the level and then you bring it back up. And so it kind of gives you like an envelope control just on the low frequencies. So it's like really tightening up that low end. It's like reducing the length or the decay of it, so that it hits, but it's real quick. And then we're compressing this kick drum just a wee bit for evenness and just a little vis. And then we're sending this to our parallel down here. Cool. So that's our kick. Let's hear it with the sample. And I use addictive trigger for that sample. So it's dynamic. It's not just a single sample. All right, snare drum. So it looks like I printed addictive trigger onto the top. So now my snare top is this. Cool. This gate's being a little weird. Then I delayed it about 1 millisecond. For some reason, doing a little Oxford drum gate. It's kind of getting the hi-hat out of there. Then I spiffed it up. Cool. Give me some kind of more punch, down there in the fundamental zone, I suppose. Similar stuff here, gating the bottom. And apparently that was bothering me. And then in the choruses, just adding that in for another layer of excitement, I suppose. Here's our whole snare. All right, compressing that thing pretty good. Nothing. Something. Wow, 7K. A lot of boost. Man, power in this 550. All right, that's our snare drum. Okay, here's our room. We've delayed the room by 12 samples. So it makes the room seem bigger. And now we're distorting the room like crazy. And then we brought in the width over here because remember the kick drum was feeling like it was in our right ear. We're making it mono below 200 and we're also cutting a good amount of lows here at about 200. So what does that sound like? Cool. That's our room now. I had to add a drum one shot here that we took at the end of the session because something about this transition was feeling weird. Maybe the quantized drums, I don't remember. So good thing we took the one shots, laid that in. Everyone was happy. What's our drum parallel all about? All right, our drum parallel. The drum parallel is about the vintage warmer, cranking up that knee. Enough said. If that doesn't make it spank, nothing will. Our drum room is, you see, I had a few ready to go, and I chose this one. Let's hear that in the chorus. Nice. that's giving us some kind of width and dimension, which, you know, these fake rooms, they're always a little fake sounding to me, but in the context of everything, it's cool. It doesn't sound fake. It's only when I listen to it really closely. Then our parallel distortion. Fun. Now let's talk about this intro. First of all, we trimmed some fat here because it used to be something like an 8-bar intro, and then we said, you know what, that's too long. Let's make it like this, shorter. So that's kind of a drop, and I wanted it to be kind of that classic drop where you have that bandpass filtered sound and then you stop the tape. So I ran around with my phone and I recorded the stop button on all my cassette recorders, and the Tascam Porta-Studio numbers 400 something, 414. That one had the nicest sounding stop, so we added that in. And we get that little drop. It's been done before, it'll be done again, but boy, is it just a rewarding little drop there. And so we've got Shadow Hills. So all that madness is, all that drum madness is then going into here. It's getting the snare's hitting the discrete compressor a little bit. We're soothing. So it's just that pesky hi-hat. I'm like, told him during tracking, yeah, it's no problem. But then I'm doing 1,000 things to chill it out. And it's working. Then we are tubing it up. Just the tape on the tube. So that's doing a lot. Getting some nice crunch, blending it in. Cool. Then a little 30 on the old EQP1. A little clipping. That's doing a lot. And then paralleling that. This low-high was how we got that bandpass sound at the beginning, but it's not fully wet. And then we also are bandpassing with a filter freak. Go figure. And turns out I didn't need this one after all. That hi-hat is reasonably taken care of. All right. Very nice. Just compulsively saving for no reason. So now all of that is going to our mix bus in, and our mix bus in is first greeted by this master fader. Stole this from Sean Everett. So I'm like, let me just gain this down a lot because I don't want to hit my mix bus very hard. I'm going to build up gain one thing at a time here. Now I've got curve bender before we even hit the mix bus, technically boosting 3.6K and 10K shelf. And that is, and I also got a little bit of this Avitas EQ doing the magical 28K and a little bit of drive. And I think the reason why those things happened is because I had these 2 stroke songs on the other side, and You Only Live Once. These are my references I was using, and I think I was like, well, these sure are bright as hell. So I think I just did this to compensate. Then we're going to hit this very gently. Very, very gently.
There's so many nights in this town.
All right, so I stole these settings from Chad Blake. And basically this mix bus situation approach, Chad Blake, Sean Everett. I mean, come on. A couple of goats out in the field. Just grazing. So we're making everything mono in the whole mix below 70. We're widening the mix a little bit. You saw this before, classic mix bus glue, less than 4 dB of gain reduction. We're inflating. I'm addicted to inflating. I'm addicted to this limiter with the safe mode, little loudness curve. I don't want to see any red, so 0.1 there. And then we're going into LB's quality analog vintage limiter by way of isotope ozone, whatever here. And making it pretty slow. So by the time we get to the end, we have a loud mix, really just certifiably loud AF mix. But it didn't start that way. It started real low and gentle. All right, let's take a listen to the bridge. Nice. So I'm panning these guitars in and out of mono and stereo. So like in the intro, they're mono, and the first verse. Forgive me. They're just a little bit narrower. They're not mono, but they're a little narrower. And then they get fully left-right in the chorus. Nice. And then we gradually bring them out here, and then the bridge again. The narrower. So yeah, just creating room in the middle and making things bigger with the sides. Now, turns out we did end up using this BX20 spring reverb. And we EQ'd it somehow. It was a little crooked, so we pulled it in here. And just in the last chorus, we did that. We also have this EMT plate that the guitars are getting sent to as a whole here in the choruses, and apparently at the end of the first verse. Let's hear with it and without it. Yeah, that's just adding some dimensionality, but it's rather subtle. It's rather subtle. They're all getting compressed together up here. Cutting some lows, getting rid of some harshness. So not only are these boosts making it a lot louder, but they're doing a lot tonally, and I'm automating. So I'm like, cool, I don't want all that 4K in the bridge, apparently. And I'm like, cool, I want more body in the choruses, and yeah, just shaping the kind of the low mids, the low of the guitar. I love this 560. It sounds good just if you have it at 0. It sounds better than if it weren't there. So whatever they're doing, nice. We're automating a send to the spring. Just at the end, we want the last chord to last a little bit longer. And a little bit of kind of riding the wave here for dynamics. All right. I mean, that's it. Greater than the sum of its parts, you might say. love it. Never gets old. So yeah, relatively simple production at the end of the day. Just trying to focus on tucking everything in so it sleeps tight and taking these dynamics for a ride when needed with some volume automation, lots of distortion, lots of spatial processing, and maybe doing a little too much. All right, folks, that's Public Pools by Sun Casino. I'm your boy LB. Thanks for watching. Hit me with any questions, comments, concerns. And of course, then this song was mastered by Bijan Sharifi. So that's the final. Catch you later.